Good evening, I'm Joe Falcone, and welcome to my show, The Movers and the Shakers. Each week, I try to bring you people who either live or work in the community and make this place a better place to live. Tonight's no exception, and they're people that you've seen before, or at least you've seen one of them, Joan Sharashak, who is really with the Fort Hill Players, which has been an icon. It's been with the city, and for at least how many years, Joan?
Since 1969.
Which is a long time. And with her, she has a cast of thousands, but I will let her introduce them because obviously I won't remember their names, except for Tony, because he wrote the play.
Okay, well, that's to my left is Tony Sportiello, who wrote the play, and to his left is Jennifer Weiss, who's playing Karen. Behind her is Bruce Apar, who's playing JP.
That's right.
And in the center is Jim Petrillo, who's playing Marty. And to the left is Steve Schnapper, who's playing Lawrence.
An amazing cast. Now, I've seen part of the play, so Tony, I just want to know, the name of the play is National Pastime, which everybody out there, I think, knows that it's about baseball. What made you come up with this? Because it's really not about baseball. What happened?
No, well, the idea of trying to make it about baseball is very daunting when you're putting it on stage because you don't really have baseball players and gloves and all that type of stuff to work with as a rule. So what happened actually is that the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown has a theater, and our idea was to do this in the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. And basically it had to be about baseball, but for all the reasons that you know of, the limitations and such, we couldn't really do it with a baseball team. So the idea was to do it about a radio station that created this baseball team. The radio station is dying and it needs ratings, and the only time it had ratings was when they broadcast a team. So now they don't have a team, so they make one up.
That's amazing. and you guys back there are the guys who are on the radio, right?
That's correct.
Yes.
And you know nothing about baseball.
Not a thing, not a clue, never even saw a game.
Oh, my God.
Lawrence thinks he knows about baseball, but he really doesn't.
Yeah, right. In one scene, I heard you describe football for baseball, so I wasn't sure if that, because I wanted to say, wait a minute, you're not doing the right thing. You know, have you, and you play a great boss, by the way.
Thanks.
Yeah.
No, and the thing is, as Steve, a.k.a. Lawrence, said, the fact that they don't know anything about baseball, you might say, throws me a curveball. And I get very frustrated, along with Jennifer as Karen, who plays my daughter.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Jennifer, how long have you been doing this?
The play, or?
Yeah, no, not the play.
What, 6 weeks? Acting, I guess I started with Fort Hill about almost 2 years ago.
3 years ago.
Were we just bored at home or something?
Kinda, yeah.
You said,
Close enough.
I need to do
Close
something.
enough. Well, it's like a past life resurrection. But
Oh, really? Did you do it
Yeah.
when you were much younger?
much younger, and then stopped.
In school or what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
various schools.
And Tony, I understand that this has kind of taken on another tone.
Yes, we're actually working on the musical, which will happen in New York City in August at the Peter J. Sharp Theater. The musical was actually done at the Hall of Fame in 2010 and then down in Washington, D.C. for 5 weeks in 2011. So our hope is that we're going to bring the musical to New York and to a much bigger stage, possibly even a Broadway musical.
So it's off Broadway, and
Yes.
I'm not sure where the theater is.
42nd Street between 9th and 10th.
Between 9th and 10th, past the Needlander.
At Playwrights, right above Playwrights Horizons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know where it is. Good for you. That's very exciting. How did they contact you and say, okay, I like this play. Are you putting it on or somebody else putting it on?
No,
You
well,
have a
it's-
bunch of angels?
Yeah, absolutely. It takes a lot of people. If you ever see the Tony Awards and you see the 35 people that go up to the stage, you know, this isn't a Broadway show, but it takes a lot of people to get these kind of thing up. But basically, we started working on the musical shortly after we did the play at Algonquin, my theater company. And we put it in the Hall of Fame, and the reaction was positive enough for us to want to pursue it.
Wonderful. And so there is one scene where you're trying to convince them to do the baseball. Is that the first scene, or is that the
No, it's actually the second scene.
That's the
the
second
first
scene.
in the opening scene. Karen, the program manager Barry, who's not here, and I. Actually, Karen and Barry hatched the scheme, and I reluctantly go along with it because the radio station is sinking like a rock, and I call in my daughter, the big shot, big city lawyer, Karen, to help us turn it around. And she and the program manager form a bond, and they come up with this crazy scheme that's supposed to save the station. The second scene, I'm trying to convince Marty and Lawrence that they're going to become baseball announcers.
Now, Karen, what did Karen? Yeah, not
That's
Karen,
okay.
but Jennifer. What's the scheme? Tell everybody what the scheme is.
Well, it's kind of giving away the farm, but with
But-
your permission.
But we have to.
You kinda have given
We
it.
have to tell you because they won't understand it when you're doing the thing.
Well, yes, it's true. He's asked me out to do something to save his whole life's work, and I've done the research, and I've come up from New York City to this tiny little godforsaken town, and I pretty much want to get in and out, and I'm pretty much telling him, look, there's nothing you can do, cut your losses. And one thing leads to another, and before you know it, I remembered that when his father ran the station, there was something big going on that, he keeps saying, come on, my father did it. It's like, yeah, but that was then, this is now. But hey, you know what? Something did work, and it was this, only there was actually a real team. So being a bit negative, I'm thinking, well, never mind, it's not going to work, but one thing leads to another, and we think it could, because
you make up a
who's
team.
going to come to this little town?
You make up a scene.
We make up a team.
But
we
they're
have them-
international. It's an
Yeah, we're-
international
yeah.
team.
Oh, because
So-
no one can go visit
sure.
it. Nobody
I
can
mean,
go watch the game.
He brings
Right.
up some realistic
The
excuse me,
beauty of this is
hesitations.
that it's set in 1933, so people didn't have the quick
YouTube.
communications
Oh,
that we had.
that's right.
So-
Okay.
So by taking all this technology out, it's somewhat feasible.
And then the other plot element that Tony cleverly worked in is that the stadium in the town burnt down, so they couldn't possibly play the games at home anyhow. So there's some credibility to that.
Some credibility. All right, I want to show that. I want to show that scene when the two of you are on radio, and you know nothing, and he knows less. So let's set up for that scene because it's a great scene.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Marty Webb along with my good buddy and partner, Lawrence Pendergrass, here with tonight's show. Now, folks, we've got something a little different for you tonight.
To say the least.
The first 1933 Baker City Cougars baseball game, right here on WZBQ, direct from Barcelona, Spain. That's right, I said baseball, professional baseball, right here in your own backyard. Now, folks, the way this thing here works is we kind of had a baseball team that has adopted Baker City as their own hometown, and they're playing the All-Stars over in Europe. The games are being brought to Lawrence and me through some sort of radio gizmo, and then we're going to bring the games on home to you. Confused? Well, you're not alone. But first, let's pause for a few seconds to hear some words from our good friends and buddies at Arnie's Restaurant, and after which we'll be right back with the game. Do you think they believed me?
Why not? I did. Besides, it certainly sounds better than the truth.
Oh, do you have that sheet that Barry gave us?
Yes, here it is.
Oh, good. What do these numbers and letters mean next to the names?
Here, let me see. Oh, those are the players' positions.
Well, what do they mean?
Well, let's see. I used to know this. I believe they're abbreviations for something, although I can't remember exactly what. It's been quite a while, you know.
Oh, heck, we're on. All right, we're back, Cougars fans, with the starting lineup. Let's see here. Alrighty. For the visiting Cougars, it looks like we've got Collins at 1B, Foley at 2B, Garrett at 3B, and Weiss at SS. LF is Lowenstein, CF is Rivers, and the RFer is Sanders. Starting on C is Hendricks, and on the mound peeing is Vinnie Cooper.
Oh, maybe it's a typographical error.
No, it can't be. See, there's another guy peeing for the other team.
Well, all I can say is the game has certainly changed from when I knew it.
That is very funny. That is really very funny. And by the way, you have some deep voice. Did you do Did you do I want to say, I don't know, radio stuff before or what?
I used to sing in a choir, so that helped.
No, that's not the same thing. You know.
No,
No,
suddenly
but
he
I-
went baritone, and the whole room changed. Everyone got lighthearted, and you should speak that way all the time.
Well, it's appropriate that his voice would be a bass.
Well,
You won't be able to hear it.
Lawrence is supposed to be the golden-throated radio announcer.
Oh my God! It's a very funny play. What did you say when you first read it?
Oh, gee, I was hoping the first reading was, of course, before we were cast,
Right.
and I was hoping for the part that I got. I was very happy to get Marty because he's not as sharp as Lawrence, and he just
That's
goes.
true.
He just goes. He just goes along with everything, but it's fun being in the broadcaster's booth.
Yeah.
And
Great, and you really seem like you're the perfect boss.
Well, I've
You don't have
I've
your
had a
cigar
lot of
with you,
practice,
but
but don't ask the people who worked for me about that. But no, what I wanted to say, and again, it's a testament to Tony that we've been rehearsing for 2 months now, and I think everybody here would agree that even at rehearsals now, we laugh at the scenes that we're in, the scenes we're watching. The play's very fresh and innovative, and it's a lot of fun to do. Right?
Joan, you kind of have to look around for a good play for the Fort Hill Players. And how did you find it?
Actually, the director, Melinda O'Brien, who's directed quite a few shows for us before, Melinda's husband was in the play at the Algonquin Theater in New York. And so she knew the play because her husband was in it. And she said, let's read this. We read it, and we thought it was really cute, so we decided to go with it.
It is a very cute play. I mean, I don't know what the ending is or whatever, but when you do this on Off-Broadway, it's going to be a musical.
Yes.
So how did you get the music?
Well, I had actually produced a musical called Sessions, which was written by Al Tapper. Al wrote the music and lyric. Al is also a producer of Broadway, The Golden Age, and loves musical theater and such. So he saw the play. He saw the actual play in 2008, and I believe it was his idea to say, look, let's do it a musical. But one thing, the play is very short, relatively short. It's only an hour 5 minutes. So there was room to bring music into it.
But where do you get the person who writes the music, writes the words, right? Plays the score? I mean, how does that happen?
It takes a lot of work, but Al's, he writes the music and the lyrics, which helps. You're only dealing with one person. And he wrote a number of songs which are fitting for the time and for baseball. And so we took it up to the Hall of Fame. We got a really nice reaction there. Took it down to D.C., got a very nice reaction there. And that's what prompted us to try and move it to Off-Broadway and then hopefully beyond that.
And we encourage the viewing public to come and see this version
Yes.
before it opens on Broadway,
I have to
so
go like
that you
this.
can say, I saw it when it was in spring training.
When it was in spring training, right? The name of it is,
National Pastime.
and it's going to be at
At the Rochambeau School. We have a preview evening on March 15th, which is a Thursday. Then we open on the 16th, 17th, and on the 17th we have a matinee. And then we are up again the following weekend on the 23rd and 24th. for the
Okay, and
evening.
Rochambeau School is in White Plains. It's on Fisher Avenue, and you have the matinees, and most of the shows start at what time?
The matinee starts at 2 o'clock, and that's on the 17th.
Okay,
All the other performances are evening performances, and they
in March,
yes.
and you don't want them to be inebriated when they come. Is that
No,
correct?
no.
Isn't that St. Patrick's Day?
Well, we'll share it willingly with St.
Well, it makes them laugh more.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, the
He
matinee
was
is
the patron saint of baseball. Didn't you know
Baseball,
that?
right.
She's quick.
She is. So that's 2 o'clock, the matinee, and all of the other performances are at 8 o'clock.
Okay, I want to go to the next shot, so let's set it up. Why don't you set it up for me?
Yeah, this is where JP, the boss of the radio and the owner of the radio station, is trying to convince Marty and Lawrence that they're going to become baseball announcers, and Marty is, I'd say, underconfident and very nervous, and Lawrence is overconfident and very full of himself, and that sort of provides the the comedy for the scene.
I think that the first scene that we saw was very funny when you looked at it and you said 1B, 2B, and the pitching, which was peeing on whatever.
Yeah.
And
Well, this scene actually precedes that. Yeah.
oh, it
Yeah.
does. That's
yes,
what I was asking
right. This
for
scene
before.
comes before that one. Yes.
Okay.
In the show.
All right, so let's go on with the next scene.
You want us to do what?
Baseball, my boys, the national pastime, part of America's heritage, right here at ZBQ. What do you say?
Well, I don't know anything about baseball. I've never even seen a game.
Terrific.
Everyone's seen a baseball game.
Oh, not me. My daddy had us working from dawn to dusk from the time we could walk until I was 18.
So you'll learn what's to know anyway. You've got bats, balls, uniforms, easiest thing in the world. Barry'll teach you, won't you, Barry?
Huh? Yeah, no problem.
And we'll even give you one of those clever catchphrases, like leaping buffalo chips, or holy cow, or something.
Holy cow, do I have to blaspheme? I mean, my folks might be listening or something.
It's not blaspheming, it's baseball. You'll see. Before we're through with you, you're going to know the game better than Babe Ruth.
Babe who?
Babe Ruth. Plays right field.
Women play baseball?
Babe Ruth is a man. He plays for the New York Yankees.
The New York who?
Oh, this is too painful to watch.
May I say something?
Why, of course.
I believe you are all mentally deranged.
This from a man who devoted 15 minutes to the pygmy cucumber.
I am a Harvard graduate, summa cum laude. I have degrees in art, literature, political history, and home economics. I intend to have a bright and promising future in broadcast, and I do not intend to jeopardize that by participating in this scam.
Lawrence, I don't want to be the one to bring this up, but you've been at this radio station for 20 years now.
Honing my skills.
Yes, and God knows it shows. But the fact of the matter is, without the Cougars, there's not going to be any ZBQ.
A regrettable occurrence, but one which I will attempt to survive. I am a pendergrass, and a pendergrass always lands on their feet. I may perhaps have to accept a position less suited to my talents,
There is one.
but as the French say, c'est la vie.
Did I happen to mention that along with this new shift in duties is an increase in salary?
You did not?
25 per week.
30?
24.
Well, you know, I was quite the avid fan at one point in my life.
We've got our announcers.
Rah, rah.
I'll never forget the game against Yale. There were 10 seconds left to play in the bottom of the ninth. Walter Scantini was at the foul line. Bases were loaded. We were going for the extra point.
Well, it's been real. If you'll just tell me where you keep the cyanide.
Lawrence, the game's changed a bit since then. Look, why don't I take you guys into the back, go over a few of the essentials.
Start with posting bail.
Come on, guys.
So what happened with Walter Scantini?
Funny you should ask.
Okay, just as funny as the first scene. I think that's wonderful, you know. Jen, what is your, besides being the boss's daughter and coming up with the idea, do you meet with them all the time to let them know how they're doing?
Well, I want to hightail it back to the city because that's where real life happens, but they coerce me to stay, and I think
Where is this taking place?
the boondocks.
Oh, upstate New York.
upstate New York.
Okay. Okay.
About an hour and a half from Cooperstown. Is that what
Yeah.
the comment
Right.
is?
Yeah. Yeah. It's not really a quick ride.
But who
so.
explains to them exactly what baseball is?
Well, actually, it's not me. I mean, I'm part of it, but I'm part of a team with my father and with Barry again, who's not here, his right-hand man. He's actually working out the scripts that they read, so they're not making this stuff up. Well, remains to be seen.
And then Barry brings in broadcasts of actual games so they
Yeah.
can hear how it's done.
Right. I've actually ordered films,
Right, films
bring in a few creative elements to help educate and
Okay.
support the thing.
What made you? It's very funny, and I mean, I love it when it says this is so and so's 1B, this one's 2B, this is CC, this is CF. What made you come up with that idea?
It was probably about the third or fourth idea I actually had. It's the one that worked. You know, it's the one that actually worked when we did it, because the opening announcement had to be something that showed how naive and totally ill-informed they really are, but not something that was just wildly off the take. So I did about 3 or 4, and then I wrote this one, and the actors did it, and we thought that was the one that we ought to use.
That's very funny.
It had me laughing out loud when I read the script.
yeah.
That's what sold me on actually that one piece is what sold me. My husband is a baseball fanatic, so definitely that was hysterical.
I think it's very funny to come up with an idea and make up games, and the audience is buying it. At some point, does there anyone who calls up the radio station and says what 1B is? I mean, I just don't know.
But you have to understand, at the beginning, they don't really, nobody's listening. At the beginning, they still have problems with ratings. But as they get, as the games become more popular, they become far better at announcing.
They're more knowledgeable.
Absolutely.
No, in fact, in one of the scenes, it's sort of funny. JP at the end of the scene says, "As long as nobody listens, we'll be just fine."
Right, right. There are several setups like that, which I thought was very nice.
But these
design.
fictitious players become stars in themselves, and so,
Oh my God!
everybody's rooting. For
Is there
them.
any player that you really latch on to?
Joe Miller.
We don't personally, but someone does.
We actually bring in somebody to play the part of Joe Miller, the center fielder. And he takes a liking to somebody at the radio station that Lawrence has a thing for. So it becomes a rivalry.
Don't tell too much.
So
Don't
it's
tell too
exciting. Joe Miller becomes a big celebrity.
I'm always amazed at people who write because I think there's so many people out there who say someday I'm going to write a book, someday I'm going to do this. Have you always written?
I always have, although I have to say I'm always amazed at people who act. Because getting up in front of an audience and even on camera is far more daunting to me than writing is.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that, but writing just takes so much time, and your ideas, and you have to put them on paper, and it's got to gel. I mean, it always looks easy, but it isn't.
No, it rarely is.
Have you written books?
I've written a book. I have written a book. I haven't written a book that sells, but I have written a book. And
Did you
hopefully someday.
self-publish it?
I haven't done that yet.
Oh, you haven't done that yet.
I just finished it.
All right, I know somebody who did that. They self-publish, and
Sure.
and you know what? And then somebody picks it up.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's not a problem.
We have other characters who aren't here. We have a weather gal, and we have a gal Friday who's at the front desk, who's a wisecracking secretary, which is very funny. And then we have these two thugs that come in off the street and do their part, but I won't tell you about that. That's really too funny, and I don't want to give that away. So we do have some more. We have a cast of 11 this time around. So
That's a lot of people.
it is.
Now, I know in one of the scenes that you were playing another part because we just heard your voice. Do you do that in the actual show? Are you an off-character person or no?
Oh, myself?
No,
Yeah.
the actor wasn't here today, so Tony
that's
was
the
reading
reason.
for him.
Because we couldn't fit any more people on the stage. That's what it is.
He was a natural.
Yeah, I know.
He
I
knew
know.
the lines.
Yeah, we were amazed. He memorized them like that.
That's wonderful. How many shows have you done?
I'm gonna say this is the fourth in recent history, maybe third with you, like
Yeah.
fourth.
And what's it's your third? What about you?
I've probably done at least 100. Seriously, I've been doing this forever.
And what about you? Yeah.
Maybe about 10 in the last 5 years.
Always with Fort Hill or with other groups?
Other groups around Westchester, theater groups.
Did you do it when you were in school?
No, I did not.
This was like, gotta get out, I'm not doing the dishes kind of thing?
It's always been a dream of mine. So
Really?
yeah.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. And what about you?
Well,
You
I
got
just started before this recent, bout of reverting to my childhood. In high school, I was in shows. In the last several decades, I wasn't, and then I decided I wanted to go back to it. So in the last 18 months, I did 3. I was the rabbi in Fiddler on the Roof, and then I played in Neil Simon's Prisoner of Second Avenue for YCP Theater Works, and then this. And I have the bug, and now I'm addicted.
Now you're addicted, huh?
It's a lot of fun.
My God. And Joan, when do they rehearse?
Oh, they're rehearsing like 3 times a week, right, you guys? I'm pretty much behind the scenes. They're the ones that are focusing on the actual production. But they've been rehearsing 3 times a week, at least.
It really picks up now. We're going into a few extra rehearsals and going into our tech week.
But you've been doing this forever. At least I think it's forever. How long have you been doing this?
Forever. Since I've been with Fort Hill Players since 1998, I think.
Okay.
I directed 2 musical reviews and then stepped back from that because that's an awesome job. And I've been pretty much just doing the producing part ever since then.
Okay, when you do the producing part, tell people what is exactly the producing part.
Well, technically, a producer on Broadway is the one who garners up all the angels.
Gets the money.
Yes. But no, Fort Hill Players actually funds the show. And whatever needs to get done winds up being what the producer's role is, which mostly is publicity, arranging things like this. We have an interview with Pete Kramer coming up next week. He's coming to a rehearsal. Creating working with we have a brand new graphic designer who's awesome. I'm going to have to mention her name is
right ahead.
Elaine Murphy. She's an old high school buddy of mine, and she came on to do our graphics for us. And it's basically being the orchestra leader, bringing all the parts together and making sure it all happens.
It's amazing because it's a great show. I'm sure it's going to be successful.
I must say that we, once the show gets on,
she doesn't really care. She's going to keep going.
No. I want to be like the Academy Awards. I want to make sure I mention the music.
And when I interrupt you, you got to tell me not to.
Okay. I want to mention our fabulous, fabulous stage managers and vice presidents, Nan Weiss and Emmy Schwartz. They are just the best in the county.
You want me to sing now or what?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
So I got those names in there. Yeah. And a lot of other people behind the scenes that help out.
Really, it's a fabulous group. It's a great play. You should all be very proud of yourselves because you seem very polished. I want to congratulate the writer because I don't know how you came up with it. I certainly hope that I see it off Broadway.
Thank you.
Because off Broadway is under 500 people. On Broadway is more than 500 people. So
Well, I hope you see it on Broadway. Then.
And what they do is they raise the prices a lot.
Yes,
a lot. I mean,
But we know the writer is okay.
He's going to let you in for free. You can go on the stage. Anyway. So it's been a delight having everyone here, and thank you so very much. And until next time, more Movers and Shakers, thank you very much. I'm Joe Falcone, and good night.